Have you ever met someone who looked small, quiet, almost unnoticeable until the exact moment you realized you picked the wrong person to mess with? The kind of person who doesn't brag, doesn't bark, but when danger arrives, they flip a switch and suddenly everything in the room belongs to them. Then that's exactly what happened. One cold night in Afghanistan when 3 cocky contractors tried to corner a sailor they thought would be an easy target. It wasn't glamorous work, but she took it seriously. She believed in doing the job right, even when nobody was watching. Most people assumed she was just another logistics sailor doing a boring audit in the middle of the night. By 17, she could handle a weapon, navigate terrain, and analyze threats in a way that most recruits couldn't dream of. When she enlisted at 19, she went into intelligence. On her first deployment, she made such an impression that an entire platoon asked for her by name. 2 years with them changed her. She lived the same harsh schedules they did, worked insane hours, and saw what real war looked like. That night, they went too far. Ara saw them only after they'd already stepped inside. When the door closed behind them, the air changed. 3 men spreading out, blocking exits, acting like they'd walked into a private playground instead of a military storage unit. Rock stepped forward with a smile that wasn't friendly. Dunleavy laughed, like he'd already decided how the night was going to go. She set her clipboard down, turned slowly, looked each of them in the eyes. And in those few seconds, she weighed every option she had. Talk. Maybe, if they were the type to listen. Run. Impossible. 1 blocked exit. 2 bodies bigger than hers in front of the other. The only path left was the one her father had drilled into her bones. If someone corners you, you don't fold. You don't beg. You don't break. You end it. Rock stepped closer. Too close. She could smell the alcohol, which meant their judgment was gone and their confidence was high. A dangerous combination for them. He reached for her shoulder like she was a toy. He never touched her. Her palm shot forward like lightning, a perfect strike driven from the ground up through her hips, exploding into Rock's nose with a sickening crack. Blood splattered. His head snapped back. He stumbled, cursing, confused that someone his size could be put down by a woman half his weight. Before he had time to understand what happened, Dunleavy lunged from the left. Ara stepped aside, used his momentum against him, and rammed her knee into his solar plexus. The sound he made was half gasp, half wheeze. His body folded. His arm was suddenly in her control, and she twisted, pulling him into a standing armbar. Pain shot through him, sending him dropping hard to his knees. Pritchard came next, trying to grab her from behind. She heard him before. She saw him footsteps, breath, angle. She released. Dunleavy spun low and swept Pritchard's leg clean out from under him. He crashed onto his back, air knocked out of him. She followed up with a sharp stomp to his ribs, controlled, calculated, enough to keep him down without doing permanent damage. Rock was up again, but the blood pouring down his face wasn't doing him any favors. Anger drove him forward. No strategy, no control, just blind rage. He charged like a bull. She let him. At the last second, she sidestepped, hooked his ankle, and redirected his weight. He went headfirst into a heavy metal shelf with a dull, ugly thud. Then silence. He didn't get up this time. 30 seconds. That's how long it took. 3 grown men down on the concrete, one unconscious, one clutching his ribs, one whimpering and holding his arm. Ara didn't run, didn't panic, didn't rush. She simply walked to the door, opened it, and flagged down the first military police patrol that passed by. When the MPs came inside, they paused, trying to make sense of the scene. Ara calmly explained what happened with the same tone someone might use to explain a paperwork issue. 3 intoxicated contractors entered the warehouse, blocked exits, made explicit threats, and advanced on her. She responded in self-defense and immediately sought help. Her story didn't shake. Their stories did. Within minutes, investigators were on the way. Photos, evidence, camera footage, statements from women who had previously tried to report the same men. Piece by piece, the truth built itself. The contractors were escorted off the base and placed under investigation. Then the real consequences fell. Termination, removal from the area, and the case referred for federal prosecution, something none of them ever imagined would happen. And through all of it, Era's chain of command backed her. Not quietly, not reluctantly. Fully. Her commanding officer, Manu, had spent years working with special operations, told her she had done exactly what she needed to do. He made sure her actions were properly documented, properly recognized, and properly honored. A few weeks later, she received an achievement medal. The official paperwork used polite wording about professionalism and composure in a hostile situation, but everyone on base knew what it really meant. She'd stood her ground when others couldn't. She'd stopped men who'd been terrorizing women for months, and she'd done it with discipline, control, and a level of skill that came from years of surviving hard lessons. When she returned home, she told her father what happened. He didn't react with shock, didn't ask for details. He simply hugged her, held her tight, and said the words she'd spent her whole life trying to earn. "I'm proud of you." Back home, she took a new assignment. Quiet again. Steady. But the story of what she'd done spread through the community of operators and analysts who knew how rare it was for justice to happen quickly, clearly, and without compromise. She kept the medal on her desk, not because she needed the validation, but because it reminded her of something her father told her years ago. Sometimes the system protects you, sometimes it doesn't. But the most important protection you'll ever have is your own readiness. And that night in the warehouse, she proved exactly what readiness looks like.